Hello, welcome to another episode of Talking About Rock. I'm your host, Rob Edwards. You can catch all our shows wherever you get your podcasts, with new episodes every weekend. So you don't miss an episode, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Simply search YouTube for Talking About Rock. And check out our website, talkingaboutrock.com. In our search to bring you new rock interviews from around the globe, today we have for you a metal band from Rome, Italy, SCREAMACHINE. They're a driving heavy metal force whose sound is inspired by titans like Judas Priest, Metallica, Sabotage, and Accept. Even if the guys from SCREAMACHINE are in love with the legendary 80s metal sound, they are not living in the past. Their aim is to deliver an aggressive and traditional heavy metal sound blended with modern production. They released their debut album in 2021. And in 2022, the talented shredder Edoardo Taddei, one of the youngest rising guitar heroes of current times, joined the band for the recording of the band's first EP, Borderline. The EP intended as a treat for fans while they waited for the new full-length album. Well, that wait will end on May 12th with the release of the new album, Church of the Scream. Coming up, we speak with bassist Francesco Bucci from SCREAMACHINE on Talking About Rock. Okay, let's welcome Francesco from SCREAMACHINE to the show. Hello, Francesco. How's it going, man?
It's going fantastic. In just 2 hours, our new album is going to be released here in Europe on the streaming service at midnight.
I know, so it's the countdown.
I'm pretty excited.
And you're in where are you located in?
Rome, the Eternal City, Italy.
Excellent. So I just went over a brief history of the band a little bit with our audience. But tell us, so I was reading SCREAMACHINE was your idea back in 2017, correct?
Yes. You want to know a funny thing? I don't remember if it was to 2017 or 18. But anyway, yes, it's my idea. You know, even if the band is young, the musicians involved in the band, they are pretty experienced. Starting from me, I mean, my first album was released in 1999. And I was playing with another band called Stormlord, extreme epic metal. But I was always in love with, the roots of heavy metal. So after a lot of time, a lot of years, I felt the urge to pay the tribute to my roots. And I was lucky enough, to know during all this year of career, a lot of very skilled musicians that share my love for heavy metal. And that's how SCREAMACHINE was born. And to be honest, when we were recording our debut album that was released in 2021, I never could imagine that we could reach that point, because that album was, a joyful anarchy. We were just 5 guys in love with heavy metal that just wanted to play the kind of music that you can't hear anymore, because I think that our approach to heavy metal, it's not really cool. It's maybe old-fashioned in a certain way. But in fact, I was wrong. So we are here. There is some people who like SCREAMACHINE so much to support us, and we are ready for the second coming.
Yeah, well, the outpouring's been standing. I was just checking you out on YouTube. You got 10,000 views on the latest video there for Church of the Scream, which is amazing. Can you tell us a little bit about writing the tracks for this album?
You mean all the track list, or just the song Church of the Scream? The whole track list?
And any tracks that come to mind, or some of the writing experiences you went through with some of the folks?
Sure. Sorry if I put my hands there. Sure, of course. Well, I think that this is the first album of SCREAMACHINE as a band. I mean, with the debut album, as I told you before, it was something much more. It was an expression of our feeling. Of course, after 2 years, we also released an EP, a digital EP last year. We had the chance to know each other better. We had the chance, to analyze our sound, to understand what SCREAMACHINE really is, and to understand the sides of SCREAMACHINE that we like the most, and to develop them, and the side of SCREAMACHINE that maybe like a little less, and to leave that behind. What is important for me? for this band is, of course, to pay the tribute to the roots of heavy metal, like I told you before. But we don't want to be a cover band or a vintage band. We want to take the sound, which I told you, it's maybe right now it's more underground, and take it into 2023. It's very important for us to incorporate a modern production, a modern skill of playing, and also the songwriting. Of course, we are thinking about Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, early Metallica, Accept, Saxon, Savatage. I'm a huge fan of Savatage. But of course, it's played like it's played for the modern times. This is important. I think this is the most important thing in Scream Machine. And this album is the perfect expression, at least for now, what Scream Machine is. We also now are more sure, more confident about what the band is, so we were more brave. I don't want to say that we experiment, because experiment is not really the word for the South of Scream Machine, but we explorate much more the world of heavy metal, because talking about heavy metal, it's like talking about rock. It means all and nothing. So maybe on this album, we're less focused on maybe just the Judas Priest approach, Accept approach. So of course there is that approach. It's strongly in our roots, but maybe on some track, for example, Church of the Scream, we play with more power, more violent, maybe near to thrash metal. On some other, like the Flag of Damnation or Epic or Defeat, I show, for example, my love. We show our love for epic metal, even for pagan metal. In Night Asylum, there is a hard rock vibe, or even a vibe from 80s band like Dokken or stuff like that. While other songs, like, for example, The Crimson Legacy or Revenge Walker, are more, near to the Iron Maiden or classic Judas Priest sound. But what I'm telling you this name because, of course, we are a young band. But I tell you once again, it's not our intention to make to write a song like Judas Priest and like Maiden. These are all influences. It's part of our, emotional baggage. But what we want to deliver to the listen is 100% Scream Machine sound, loud, heavy metal music.
And you added to that sound in 2021 by getting a new guitarist for the band. Can you tell us a little bit about him, how he helped shape the sound for you guys?
Well, we have our own personal Jason Becker there. Edoardo, I think it's one of its kind. It's a guitar hero. I can think about any other terms to describe him. It's so talented, and his career is on the rise. He's just back now from a European tour with Master Boot Records, which is a very important band that makes a very strange genre. And he already played on his solo album with Jeff Loomis, and people like that. It's just 22, if I'm right. It's unbelievable the way this kid's playing. Long story short, after the debut album, our friend Alex Melev, one of the two guitar players, he's the leader also of a band called Caledon, and we are very close friends. But he told us that he wants to focus much more on his creature, on his band, on his creature, because he's the leader of Caledon. So we understood that, and we started to search for another guitar player. And Edoardo was already active in the Roman scene, and I see the first time him with a Yngwie Malmsteen tribute. I see this young guy, very young guy, just out of school, playing this stuff without any kind of without sweating,
without sweating at all, just blasting through it.
It was amazing. And Paolo, our guitar player and also sound engineer, and also is a keyboard player. He played the keyboards on the first album of Edoardo. So he told me, why don't we ask Edoardo if he like? And I was really surprised to understand that this young guy was also so much into the 80s. I'll tell you a funny story. After the first rehearsal with Edoardo, of course, I was really impressed the way he plays. But the things that impressed me the most was to see a 20-old boy that when we came out, Paolo was whistling the song Lady of Winter from Crimson Glory. I don't know why. And Edoardo say, are you whistling Crimson Glory? I would say, okay, this is our man.
Right. It was all sewn up
And
right there when you could pick that out. And not only that, you've also added some guests on the new album as well. Can you tell us some of the
yeah,
folks that guests on here for you also?
well, it's very important for me this question about guests because on our first album, on our debut album, it was filled with guests. Because of the nature of that album was the most honest album you will ever hear from a heavy metal band because it was made for us. And of course, we had this, joy of sharing our song with friends. And so the first thing that keep us in mind, that came us in our mind, was to maybe ask to the people that we know, the guitar player that we know, that we think that they are the best in metal, in the Italian metal scene. And we were lucky enough, to know a lot of people. So we had this wonderful guitar hero on our debut. And then with Frontiers, we were able also to reach icons like Steve DiGiorgio or Herbie Langan. On the new album, there is only one guest. Because when with Paolo and with Valerio, we started thinking about writing the new album, we didn't speak each other about that topic, but we thought the same. No guest, because we don't want to appear, like a circus, like the band with a guest. Now it's time for Scream. I'm so proud to have all these talented guys that gave their contribution on our first album. But right now it's time to show the world that Scream Machine, it's a band. There's only one exception. Only one exception is my close friend, Mr. Davide Damnamora, the singer from Elven King. We are friends since 25 years or more. We shared also a side project back in the days, 20 years ago, called Leprechaun. And, it's been years that we chat and we say, okay, we have to do something together. But
Right.
then maybe he's busy, I'm busy. Then, when you grow up, the life is busy. So it was always difficult to match each other. Then I wrote this song. It's one of the songs that I'm most proud of the album. I know it's not an easy song. It's long, more than 7 minutes. It's not so near to the classic style of Scream Machine. It's an epic metal song where I show my love for, early Manowar, Bathory, even, pagan music like Skyclad, or even Doom like Candlemas. And this huge song that needs some listen, to appreciate it, has this break in the middle, this section in the middle with this, guitar riff that really seemed very pagan. It also sounds like something from Satyricon, the black metal band. And I was listening to this part and I say, Davide would be perfect for this. So I wrote, WhatsApp and say, hi, hello, Davide, the time has come. You can't say no. And he say, yes, I'm going to do that.
Right. You got to figure something out. We got to make our schedules work this time.
Yeah, and he was so kind. I want to thank him because this was happening in November. And in November, he was really busy recording the vocals for the new Elven King album, was released just last Friday. And I know very well, when you're recording the vocals, you're in the end of the process. So the deadline is here. But he was kind enough to find the time to make this guest appearance. And I want to thank him by heart. And he was so enthusiastic about the song.
Excellent. And I was checking out the album artwork too, and that is outstanding as well. Can you tell us a little about the artist who did the artwork for the album? Very, very nice.
There was a change since the debut album because this time I had in mind the topic of the album. So while the first cover was more, expressionist, this monster made of fire, not really defined, this time I had very well, in my mind, the idea of this Church of the Scream with the monster, it's our mascot. We call him the metal monster, of course, like our song. That, a kind of priest of metal on this altar made of guitar cabinet, teaching metal to the people. And I need, an artist more traditional, more into a visual style. And I was lucky enough to have Stan Decker, which is an outstanding artwork cover artist that has worked a lot with Frontiers, and I didn't know that. So I was spoken with Frontiers. I say, I really want this guy. He say, okay, easy. He's doing a lot of cover for us, so no problem.
And he was simple, right?
Yes, sometimes it's so easy. Maybe
Right.
if I was programming it, it would be
Right.
not easy at all. And so I was so happy because I was searching for my Derek rig, if you know what I mean.
Right.
And he was so able to understand what I had in my mind. In fact, I have to say that I had the privilege during the album that I made before to work with some legend. Some cover of Storno that was made by Petagno, the artist behind, the Snaggletooth of Motorhead,
Right.
and then with Fournier, the one who drew Avantasia and Heart of Winter of Immortal, and Jula, the one who drew, Stratovarius and Destruction, and they are all great artists. I love them. But this was the first time that, the first draft he sent me, I say, it's perfect. Okay, it's just color it. It's perfect that way. So I'm pretty sure that, and he was such a kind guy. So I'm pretty sure that also, if there will be a third album, finger crossed, he will be the one in charge for the cover album.
Right. It's just falling all into place for you. Excellent. I really like the tracks too. So I want to take a quick break here, and we're going to check out the title track for Church of the Scream. And we'll be right back here on Scream Machine. We'll be right back here on Talking About Rock. Okay, we're back here on Talking About Rock. Just checked out the title track for Church of the Scream, which is out May 12th, which is tomorrow, depending on when you check out this video. But so what is next for Scream Machine? What's going on next? You guys got other plans coming up, or what's the plan of attack next?
Well, you know, when you play this kind of music, you want to jump on the stage to play as loud as possible. So, of course, the answer is we want to play live as much as possible, even if the times are not so easy. Because right now you see also some huge bands like Anthrax, for example, have can sell 2 tours, but we really want to tour as much to play some days as much as possible. So the first one will be in just a few weeks here in Rome. It will be our warm up with with a band called Vanexa, a very historical band, a metal band from Italy, one of the prime mover of the metal scene here in Italy. And then I think we will jump to September, because you know during the summer they run the festival, and our album was released too late. I mean, not too late. It was the release that we shared with the label, but
Right.
we were not able to be booked, you know, for the
Right. The
second album.
timing just
So
wasn't right to get on
the
the festival
time was
circuits,
right
right?
for the festival, because May it's an amazing month. So in September we will try to. We have an agency. We are working for some dates, you know, in the country, and we hope also in Europe. Even if I see that the promoter right now are very scared because the expenses are high, and even
Right.
if we are a rock and roll band, we don't want nothing. You know, we jump on a van, guitars. So just give us a bed, some beer, some booze. It will be
Right.
okay.
Yeah. I
But
know
we,
that's the thing right now. Everything is so expensive for the touring,
yeah,
and
because
that's the big complaint. Yeah.
we can't lose money. So maybe
Right.
we at least the fuel. So
Right. Right.
and the promoter are pretty scared. So let's hope. I think mainly it will depends also on how the album will be, the feelings about the album, the feedback about the album. So
Well, if
let's
the
hope for the
streams on
best.
Spotify are any clue what's going on with 10,000 streams to start out with, that's pretty amazing. I was going to ask
Let's
you, what's the metal scene like where you are there? Is it seems like in Europe and all those countries over here, the really hard rock and metal scene is still really huge.
Well, the metal scene in Europe is still huge, especially the genre you tell. In Italy, we have a very strong death metal and black metal scene, especially death metal. Bands like Flesh God Apocalypse and stuff like that, The Evangelic, Heart of Penance. As for the power and classic metal, we always have Rhapsody, you know, Elven King, of
Right.
course. But Italy is more about extreme metal, if I have to say. While Germany, maybe, or Sweden, they have a strong metal scene too. But anyway, the metal scene right now is going very great. I mean, I'm a grown-up guy, and I remember when people was not believing in the Italian scene. You know, you just have a pizza, mandolino, and mafia. How do you want? How do you dare to play metal? And then
Right.
bands like Lacuna Coil or Rhapsody just changed the game. We were ahead of the game. When Rhapsody comes out with Legendary Tales, the whole Europe was shook. Was, oh, what the fuck is this? I never heard
Right.
that.
Right.
Or
Well,
or,
hopefully,
or
yeah,
yeah,
hopefully
or
in the
Lacuna.
US we catch up with you guys, because we're always a little bit behind Europe. Right now, metal is not as big in the US as it used to be back in the day. We're all
Yeah, of
hoping that
course.
that's coming back eventually, because I see all the tours going over
Yeah.
to Europe and Japan and
Yes. Yeah.
Spain, and all the hard rock and stuff is touring over there right now. But
Well,
I
Scream
know
Machine.
that's going to heat up the US eventually, and it's all going to circle back.
Scream Machine is trying to do our best to give the metal back. Keep the metal back. So,
Excellent.
so yes, there is a very good scene here in Italy right now.
Very, very cool. Yeah. Well, we hope to see you in the States sometime, definitely playing some
Yeah.
shows. And you folks can follow Scream Machine on Facebook, on their Instagram, www.screammachineband.com, screammachine.bandcamp.com. You can get their new albums, you can check out their merch, all that good stuff.
Yes,
Francesco, thank you so much for being
everything.
with us today. It's been a pleasure to speak with you, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your support, man. By my heart.
Excellent.
See you.
Yep. We'll always be here keeping the torch alive, folks out there. Thanks for tuning in. and check us out on our next episode. All right. Have a good night, man.
Ciao.